Digitizing, entering patterns using a digitizer. Digitizing is entering patterns of paper, cardboard, etc. into the system using a digitizer, where graphic information about the patterns is transferred into the construction program. Preparation of digitizing. A digitizer is a device for information entry in vector form digitizing. A template is attached to the digitizer, which is the menu of work functions for digitizing: saving, cancellation of the last point, closing of an outline, and so on. The constructor imitates tracing the patterns attached to the digitizer, indicating the points with a special mouse. This is digitizer cursor. The cursor intersection should be placed in the point of the pattern, which we are entering at the moment by way of pressing one of the buttons. The template menu functions are performed if we move the cursor to the required menu line and press any cursor button. Thus, to start digitizing a pattern, we have to choose the digitizing command in the work window of the model, a new one or a previously created one. Enter the parameters of the new pattern, material and pattern names group. Number of the cut details. Specify the size and height of the pattern. In this case, we enter the basic size. Choose the type of the main outline, begin entered, cut or ready view. If necessary, the other parameters of the pattern may be changed as well. Confirm the parameters. The work window of pattern digitizing will be displayed on the screen. The upper line of the window shows the stage of digitizing at the moment and in the pattern sizes. The button panel of digitizing functions corresponds to the template panel attached to the digitizer. These commands are reset either with the cursor of the digitizer or on the monitor screen by clicking the left mouse button on the relevant menu line. The image on the screen reflects the constructor's actions during the digitizing process. When the cursor relocates over the digitizer surface, this movement can be seen on the screen. Points of the pattern on the digitizer are read by pressing the relevant cursor button. Button 1. Shape generating intermediate points creating the line curvature. In the construction program, their visibility on patterns is disabled. Button 2. Reference intermediate points. These are reproducible points of the section. 3. Button. The end point. In the end of the section. Button 4. For entering the grain line and for entering increments of the grading. Double-click on buttons 1, 2, 3 for obtaining notches of the relevant type. Attention! Different types of digitizers may have different types of cursors, and the arrangement of buttons may differ from the specified one. General procedure of pattern digitizing. First, entering the grain. Second, entering the main outline. Third, entering the point of inscription. Fourth, entering the eternal marks if necessary. Fifth, saving the pattern. The current stage of digitizing is shown on the upper bar of the window during work. First, entering the grain. For the purpose, do the following. Place the digitizer cursor at the start of the grain and press the grain entry button. 4. Specify the end point, setting the direction of the grain line in this way, and click on the same button. The grain will be displayed on the screen in red color. And the next work mode, entry of outline, will be indicated in the upper part of the window. We begin entering the external main outline in the first point of the pattern using the endpoint 3 button. We also set the endpoint in the end of the section using button 3. The first section has been obtained. Then we enter the second section, strictly closewise and so on. For entry of a straight section, we need to enter only 2 points, the start and the end, using the endpoint 3 button. The digitized sections will appear on the screen as soon as they are specified on the digitizer. In a curved section, we enter intermediate point, use button 1. Then we use the endpoint 3 button in the end of the section again, and so on. By double-clicking on button 3 in the point, we obtain the end notch, a large red square. By double-clicking on button 2, we obtain the reference intermediate notch, a small square. It does not cut the outline into sections, and the line comes out smooth. The outline should be entered successively, without returning back or reading one and the same point twice. If a point has been entered by mistake, you can delete it by choosing the cancel mode in the command bar for one or several last points. After that, continue entering the pattern from a correct place. Specify the last point of the outline not far from the start point of digitizing, without trying to get straight into the start of the outline. Use the close the outline command to finish tracing of the outline for accurate matching of the start and end of entry. The next digitizing mode is entry of eternal point, that is, of the inscription outline on the pattern. Place the cursor inside the pattern outline and click any cursor button. A red point will appear on the screen. This is minimum set of operations necessary for digitizing a pattern. There are 3 obligatory pattern outlines entered: the grain, the main outline and the point of inscription. To save the pattern, choose the Save command in the command bar. If necessary, you can enter various eternal marks on the pattern before saving it, entering the eternal marks if necessary. For example, choose the Enter of Eternal Outline mode before the saving operation. Using the same commands and procedures as for the main outline, enter the sections of the outline of green color. And close it if necessary. After that, you can save the pattern or continue working. Choose a different mode, entry of point mark, and enter the required points of blue color, using any cursor button for various tags, and so on. Now save the digitized pattern. The digitizing window is closed and the pattern parameters window remains in the screen. Press the Cancel button and call up the pattern onto the screen from the Work with Database window. Compare the appearance of the pattern in the Work window for digitizing and in the Construction program. The intermediate shape generating points are not seen on the ready patterns. The red rectangles are replaced with notches, intermediate, the reference intermediate notch and the end notch. A large pattern is digitized by parts if a piece does not fit in the digitizer table. You need to do the following. Digitize the first part of the pattern that fits in. Enter the grain, and then enter the external outline of the pattern clockwise up to the imaginary division line of the pattern. From point 1 to point 2. But do not perform the close the outline command. Shift the paper pattern, placing its second part on the digitizer table, and choose the Continue Entry mode. Enter the grain again in the second part of the pattern, and digitize the outline from point or notch 2, and further in a clockwise manner. As the first point 1 has already been entered, enter the second part of the pattern without coming up to point 1. Close the outline and enter the point of inscription. Save the pattern.